よ。ちょっとマイク動きましょう。 OK。 みんなおはよう。ちょっと遅いけど。よーくまみさん、やっほー。今日の配信ちょっと遅いのごめんね。ちょっと寝すぎた。寝坊した。まあこの朝予定がないけど最近配信ちょっとできないのごめんね。なんかいっぱいいろいろことやってるね。なんか友達とテーマパーク行ったし、姉さんとショッピング行ったし、いっぱいアルバイトやってるし、それとなんかいろいろ他のことやってるし、なんか友達とこのでっかいの喧嘩があって、さあだからなんか落ち込んすげえなんか難しかった配信。何の話しよっか。なんかまだ半分寝てるぼーっとしてる。いつもぼーっとしてるね。なんかその話も教えたけど、隣でなんか大学に戻るワーキングリスト作った。あくびごめんね。服とカメラといろいろ。多分16日から19日まで配信できないと思う。いやもう夜だから俺も半分寝てる。ごめんね。この配信はちょっとだけね、みんなと話したかったけど、みんなは眠たいの分かるね。15分ぐらいかな。だからなんか最近忙しいから配信するって難しいからさ、できる時に配信したい。眠み。みんな今日どうだった？いいことあった？悪いことあった？面白いことあった？全部聞きたいよ。満月さん、夜がつらい。つらいね。よしよしよしよしよしよしよしよしよしよしよし、大丈夫だよ。今日は忙しくて疲れた。疲れ様。よく頑張ってね。めっちゃ偉い。ほんと偉い。だからこの配信はちょっとだけね。そして後でいっぱい寝てね。なんか最近ね、これちょっと最近ね、なんか毎日起きるときなんか頭すごくごちゃごちゃ。なんか起きる、何年だ 今は何年何時何があってる何体重い助けて毎日起きたらいやなんかストレス夢いっぱい見てるし、なんかいつもビビさん Hello Hi こんちゃこんちゃ How are you doing? I literally just woke up さっき起きたからさ声があまり出ないねなんか昨日ねお父さん電話したから起こしちゃった。その時で少しだけ起きたからなんかなんですかって声がやばかった眠いさっき言ったけどなんか ASMR したいね。Are you studying today too? No, I'm not studying today. Like, it's a bit too late for the people in Japan to be watching, because a lot of people said they go to bed normally around like 11ish, and it's like 11:30 there right now. So today I'm just like talking for I don't know like 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna let everybody go to bed. Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Good morning to you too. Yeah, like I usually like to stream in the morning because that way the people that normally watch it's the evening for them, so that way they don't have anything to do and they can just sit and watch. So I don't know, today I woke up a little bit late, so 寝声なんかそれ言葉かな。ちょっと待って。寝声なんかそれ言葉かな。なんか朝の声みんななんか朝の声 ASMR っぽいじゃんさっき言ったけどなんか ASMR するかなしないかなっていつも思ってるからさボールするかな。そして雑談なんかそして ASMR したら何の ASMR かな。シチュエーションボイスとかなんかただ話してるとか眠い今日何しようか。どうしよう今日。スキンケアしようかな。スキンケアしたい。じゃあそれしよう。他は何だろう。まあ夜でアルバイトあるからさ。そういえば8月8日と9日で姉さんと海に行くから配信できないね。ASMR やるならウィスプリングしてほしい。そうですかささやきか。なんか低いの声とか私なんか低いの声がもっと落ち着くと思うね。 戦いの声はなんか耳で虫みたいなんかごめん、でも女の子のそれ聞いたらなんかモスキートみたい、なんかブズブズってなんか他の人は好きなのわかるけど私が好きじゃない。だからもっと低いな声が落ち着く私に。ごめんね。昔のいじめがこの配信見てるかななんかその話教えたかななんか昔で中学でいっぱいアニメ見て、そしていやこいつだけじゃない、なんか全部クラスメイトを私にすごくいじめた。そしていじめのやつさっきね私にメッセージしたインスタで、ねえどうやって日本語覚えた？俺も覚えたいって私彼に言った。友達なかった高校で、だから友達欲しかったから日本語勉強したよって言った。彼が辛いね、お前に話してるの。Have you watched the Barbie movie? No, I at first wanted to watch the Barbie movie, but I saw a bunch of reviews that were like, it's huge in culture and politics, and I was like, oh no. And I started asking about like from people that had watched it, and like, oh yeah, it's huge on like the whole politics culture thing. I was like, fuck no, I'm not watching that. I went from really wanting to watch it to not wanting to watch it at all. So now it's getting annoying that people keep bringing it up. Because it could have been a good movie, but Hollywood did the thing Hollywood does, and it turns everything fun into something political, so not gonna watch it. 最近さ初めて一回くらい海いいじゃんいいじゃん。海で何する？Yeah, like I went from wanting to watch both Barbie and Oppenheimer, but worrying that Oppenheimer would be too political, to wanting to watch Oppenheimer because Barbie was somehow too political now. Like, I get it, Barbie has always kind of been like a feminist thing, and that's great, but at the same time, like, I don't want to hear about it. I really don't. Given the shit that I've been through, I don't want to hear about it right now. Yeah. いや、やっぱりね、英語の声と日本語の声違うね。なんか英語喋ったらもっとなんか喉開ける。さっき起きたから。そういえばね、夜中で起きた、なんか朝の4時起きた、めっちゃ喉乾いた。なんかみんなそんな感じわかるね。なんか夜中で起きていっぱい冷たい水飲んだら最高、気持ちいい。それどっちの声も好き。ありがとうくまふみさん、 Thank you うん、ささやきしたらなんかそんなん休まるしたら英語とか日本語とかどっちかな。いやーなんか夜中起きてなんか喉すごく渇いた。なんかみんなそんな感じ大好きでしょ。なんか夜中起きて冷たい水いっぱい飲んで、マジで最高じゃん。Oh, understandable. Thank you. You're like the first person that said that to me. That at least isn't from this stream. Because, like, every other time I'm like, hey, I have been through some shit, and talking about politics makes me think about that. They're like, well, you're obligated to. Like, you have to. Otherwise, you're a part of the problem. And I'm like, fucking no. It's like, if you're not talking about it, you're a part of the problem. No, bitch, you are the problem. They're like, oh, like I don't want to get too into this because it's like, again, it's a very controversial topic. But it's like people are always like, oh, we're all for mental health and we're all for like supporting, neurodivergent people. And then as soon as one of those people is like, hey, talking about politics is really not good for me, they're like, well, you're a piece of shit. I'm like, so where is this support now? 半分英語の配信になった。なんか前の配信の話だったかな。なんか政治が嫌だの話、英語で。Hmm. Yeah, like I could rant about that literally forever because that was what happened. There were people that were very, very, very awful to me, and they used politics as an excuse for it. And so talking about politics it brings up a lot of bad memories. And when I say that, people are like, well, if you're not talking about it, you're part of the problem. If you're not saying anything, you're siding with them. And it's like, no, I am taking care of myself so I don't like absolutely fall apart because I literally still have nightmares. And like you flinch at the sound of the door opening, that kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it because it creates like an environment where people feel entitled to a lot of things, and they come in with this like sense of aggression. It's just like constant aggression, and that's the same aggression that was used personally against me. So it does make me very uncomfortable talking about like politics and social issues. And I'm glad that the people here don't like that I don't have to. Like I put it as one of the rules in my stream. It's like, hey, don't talk about politics. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I'm a native English speaker, so I mean, this is the voice that most people hear. Well, I still like I just woke up, so it's a little bit louder than this. But yeah, like I was talking with them, like, your voice changes a lot when you speak a different language, and it's not on purpose. Like, and other people do it too. Like other people, when they speak another language, their voice changes, and I think it gets like softer with your second language because you don't have as much confidence. And yeah, I think it's cool. なんかさっきの話、なんか英語の声と日本語の声が違って。うん。 I wanted this to kind of be like a safe place from that, especially since like I'm going back to college in a couple of weeks, and I go to art school, and that says a lot about the political climate. And it's not like I align anywhere on a political spectrum. Like I don't consider myself any part of like any kind of political party, because like I pick and choose my viewpoints from both sides, and I have issues with both sides. It's just that like people only really talk about one, and I'm not allowed to talk about like some serious issues about the way people handle political discussions and the amount of aggression that automatically just kind of seems natural to them when talking about politics. And that aggression is very much not healthy and not mental health friendly and not neurodivergent friendly. So I think a lot of people need to kind of re-examine the way they speak to people when talking about politics and social issues, if they're going to, you know, call themselves an ally to like, you know, like neurodivergent people or an ally to mental health. If you're going to do that, a lot of examining the way you speak about these things needs to be done. I'm not talking to you specifically, I promise you didn't do anything wrong. I'm talking about like people in general. なんかそれの話ね、みんな政治のこと話したらなんかアグレッションがめっちゃ急に多くなるからめっちゃ嫌だ。なんかみんなが私メンタルヘルスのことめっちゃ気にしてる、そんなことめっちゃ気にしてる、トラウマあるの人応援します。でも政治とかのこと話したら急にめっちゃなんかアグレッション入るから、そんなに応援してないんでしょって。なんかその話なんか覚えたね。みんながなんか私の初めてのルームメイトがめっちゃひどかったのは知ってる。でも前年それが1年生だった時、でも2年生だったのルームメイト、夏休み終わったら私3年生になるから、なんかこれ毎年でした。毎年はね、私ルームメイト3つありました。3つ言いました。そしてなんか2人が喧嘩して、私全然知らなかった。でも急に3人の全部私にメッセージして、ねえ最近私たちなんか喧嘩あったけど B ちゃん何も悪くないから B ちゃんに怒ってないの知ってほしいって。そして B ちゃんはなんかこんなシチュエーション多分怖いから B ちゃん何もしなくていい、私が話したら外出てもいい、なんか見なくていいって。私めっちゃ安心した。めっちゃありがたいって。なんか喧嘩したのは嬉しくないけど、その3人が全部私に B ちゃんのせいじゃない、 B ちゃんに怒ってないって言ったのはすごく嬉しかった。なんか大人っぽいじゃんって思った。その3人マジで優しかった。その3人とこの年一緒に住まないけど同じフロア同じアパートで住んでるからさ、それがいい。But yeah, I was telling the story of like, because when I was a freshman, I had really, really bad roommates, and those are the people I'm talking about, that were like extremely aggressive and pretty much abusive and used that as an excuse. But sophomore year, I had much better roommates, and two of them had some sort of argument, and I didn't even know it had been going on for like 2 weeks until all three of them separately messaged me, and they were like, hey, yeah, something is going on, but it is not your fault, and you didn't do anything wrong, and we're not mad at you, and you don't have to be involved if you don't want to be. And I wasn't happy that they were fighting, but I was so happy that they communicated to me in the way they did, because they knew what had happened with my old roommates, and they, you know, it was very, very, I was very happy that they, you know, all three of them separately messaged me and were like, hey, we're not mad at you, you didn't do anything wrong, you don't have to be involved. I totally get you, it's like trying to justify it. Yeah, that's what they did. And like after 5 minutes of meeting this one of them, they like sat in my room and told me how much they hated all these different groups of people, but it was okay because they weren't like minority groups of people. And I was part of some of those, like it was like a religious group or like a racial group or like a sexuality group. I was part of a lot of these groups, and I was like, hey, I think maybe we should just view each other as individuals and not our demographics. And she's like, no, I have the right to. And it just escalated and got worse and worse and worse until I ran out when they were all sleeping, and I never came back. So, oh yeah, your Thai and your Chinese voice are totally different from your English one. Oh, that's really cool. That's cool. I actually work at a Japanese restaurant, and a lot of my coworkers speak Chinese. So, yeah, I should think about that. Like, I have work tonight, so I should like listen and see if like they're like they sound different when they're speaking English versus Chinese, because like I never really thought about that with my coworkers. Hmm. But yeah, like yeah, I was super happy that they communicated to me in the way they did, and they even reached out, like, because they were gonna have like a meeting about it with one of the RAs and talk about like, you know, what had happened. I opted in like not knowing what happened. Like they were like, oh, you if you want to know what happened, we can tell you. And I was like, honestly, I don't think I want to know, because I don't want to be involved. I want to be involved as little as possible. And they're like, we get that. So I never ended up knowing what happened. um but they were having a meeting in our dorm with an RA, and they said, you don't have, like, I understand that, like, due to what they've been like in the past, dorm meetings are very like scary for you, so you don't have to go, especially because like you're not involved. You don't have to go to the meeting if you don't want to. And they all reached out to the RA and told them that I had nothing to do with it, so I didn't have to go. And the RA emailed me and he was like, hey, they told me that you didn't have anything to do with the situation, so you don't have to go, just as long as like we hear it from you. And I was very, very, very thankful that they handled this in the way that they did, where like they knew what had happened with me and they didn't want me to be involved because they knew, you know, it would bring up a lot of things, especially because it happened around the same time that things had happened in my old dorm. So, you know, they talked to the RA, made sure that I didn't have to be involved, and all three of them separately, you know, talked to me, told me I didn't have to be involved and that I didn't do anything wrong, and that it went from a situation that could have been very, very stressful to me to one that made me feel a lot safer living there. And that was kind of like what made me feel, you know, safer living there. It took me several months to feel comfortable in my dorm, not because of anything they did, but just because of the way things had been in my old dorm. Like, I would run to the kitchen and run back to my room because I didn't want to run into anybody. And like, one time I was trying to clean dishes for everybody, and I didn't know, like, they didn't want me touching their stuff, so they were like, hey, can you like kind of just do your own dishes and we'll do our own. And I thought they were mad, so I like hid under my bed for like several hours. So yeah, like after, like, I lived with the first group for like one semester, and the second semester of my freshman year I lived with three other people, and they're cool. I didn't live with them the next year, but like they were cool. And I, like, as soon as I'd moved out of there, it was like, you know, I was trying to follow the same expectations I had in the other dorm. Like, I was deep cleaning the apartment every, you know, weekend, and they would be like, oh, thanks, like, as if it was something they didn't expect me to do it, and they were like genuinely thankful that I did it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, they would yell at me if I didn't. So it's a long story. It's a long story. みんな英語ごめんね、いっぱい英語話してる。 でもね、みんなは多分眠いから英語を聞くは寝かしてるかなひーちゃんの声落ち着くからすごく眠い。あ、じゃあなんか配信終わってほしいとか、もっと英語を喋ってほしいとか、もっと日本語喋ってほしいとか、ちゃんと寝るように何がしてほしい？いや、始まった時15分って言ったけど、今はもう30分だ。うん。あのじゃあなんか、クミさん眠いから配信終わる？それともなんかもっと喋ってほしい？何が欲しいんでしょうか、くまふみちゃん。うお背中ボキボキした。うお気持ちよかったそれ。ほらちょっと待って。うわバブバブって喋っててくれえ喋っててくれればいいよ。えあ、オッケー。じゃあまた話します。英語とか日本語とかどっちが欲しい？満月さんどうしたの？クリネミクリネミって何？うん。英語とか日本語とかどっちが欲しい？ポケモンスリープ英語OK。 well there's とりあえず小まみさん寝落ちたらおやすみなさい。じゃあこれから英語でもっと話しましょうか。I think there's been I've been having some issues with my art style, and like the stuff I want to make is different from the stuff I've actually been making. In terms of video editing, like I can't draw for shit, dude. I used to think I could draw, but now I can't. But yeah, like in terms of video editing, I can't play it now because people are trying to fall asleep, and that's the point. Like, see, the videos that I want to make are super calming and super it gives a sense of rest from all that political shit. I want it to be like in this moment you don't have to think about it, you are doing fine. But the stuff I end up making is pretty much the opposite, where it's like super overwhelming and overstimulating, because that's what conveys like my view of the world. And you know, I think like it's rough because the stuff I want to make and the message I want to give people is very different from the art that's coming from the bottom of my heart. And that's kind of sad, because like I want to make people happy. I want to make people feel that rest that we desperately need, you know. I was talking about it in one of my classes, and it was like, you know, someone said, do you think there's an obligation for art that has a message? And I was like, honestly, I think even more we have an obligation for art that doesn't have a message sometimes. Like, if everything is just bombarding us with how we should feel, you know, I think for our own sanity, you know, we're obligated to have a break from that, from art, with art, you know. I think we have just as much of an obligation, you know, to make people, to give people that sense of rest. And that's what I want to do, you know, because no one else is doing it. I want to make art that's like, you don't have to constantly be involved in all this political shit. You don't have to, you know, worry about all that. And, you know, you're doing just fine. You're doing more than enough. And no matter what anybody else says, you know, that's all you really need to do. But, you know, the stuff I end up making is like, it's like super overwhelming and overstimulating, and it's just like a bunch of flashing colors and loud noise, because that's how I view the world a lot of the time. Because with all the other stuff that's like, all the political stuff that's not, you know, giving me a break, that's how I view the world. And, you know, that's kind of what's conveying how I feel, and that's the art that, you know, conveys my feelings the clearest, I guess. And it sucks, because that's not the kind of art that, you know, that's not the impact that I want to have on the world. The world already has enough vent art. The world already has enough, you know, like, overwhelming art that has way too much, you know, shoved into it to try and tell you how to feel. You know, we need a break with art. You know, we need people to make art that says, you know, like, you are doing enough, and there's no strings attached to it. Like, because a lot of times when people do make art like that, they don't really mean it, because they'll make something and it's like, oh, you're doing great, you're good enough, but then 5 seconds later they'll post all that like political shit, and it's like, if you're not doing enough, you're part of the problem. It's like, pick a fucking side. So, you know, I think I would want to make art where it's like, regardless of anything, you are doing more than enough. And, you know, and there was like, I'm really glad that was a race we took us. I'm so glad you care about that. I'm gonna cry. Yeah, I feel like if I continue to talk about that specific situation, I might start like spacing out. So I'm kind of talking about like my art style now. Like on this channel, I made a video, and I was playing around with digital horror style, like that kind of aesthetic, because I saw things like Lacey's Flash Games and Bugbo and Cheskid's Archive, and I wanted to make something like that, because I've been doing analog horror for a while, and as much as I love analog horror, it's starting to get a bit oversaturated, and that sucks, because analog horror is so cool, but, you know, it's kind of getting repetitive. So as much as I love it, I'm taking a break from it to do more things like digital horror, you know, instead of, you know, like making the nostalgia of VHS scary. It's like making the nostalgia of like a 2007 Flash game scary. And I tried to make one that was like a fake dating game. It was like a shitty fake dating game, and that was what I was talking about. Like, I made the love interest one of those people that's like, you know, believes that if you're not giving 1,000% of the time to 1,000% of the issues thrown at you, you are part of the problem. And like, I made that as a way to kind of point out that kind of attitude and point out that way of speaking. And it was weird, because like, it was hard to translate that in Japanese, because, you know, it was hard to translate that, because like, I was talking with my friend, and he was like, yeah, people don't really talk like that down here. I was like, they don't like accuse you of being a part of the problem if you're not doing literally everything. He's like, no, they don't do that. So a lot of the like buzzwords that people use didn't really translate right. So it was kind of rough to translate, but I have an English version. I don't know if if I do play it, I'm not gonna play it with sound because people are trying to sleep and it's very loud. Um, but yeah, like the thing is, like with that video, that was kind of the art that I wanted. Like, well, that's not the art that I wanted. That was more the art that kind of came from the bottom of my heart. Because my therapist was like, you should make a video, because like videos seem to be your kind of outlet. It's like, make a video about the people that have hurt you, and that was what I ended up making. And it was something overwhelming, and it was something, you know, scary, when that's not exactly what I wanted to make. Like, well, I like making it. It's fun to make, but I don't want that to be my impact on the world. I want my impact to be, you know, because people already know how I feel about it. Like, this is more so art that expresses how I feel, but the art I want to have is more of like a solution. I want people that feel the same way as me to have a sense of rest through my art. I don't know, you could argue, I guess you could argue that, like, you know, being understood is a sense of rest, but, you know, I want to make that message clearer. It's like, you know, saying outright, you know, you don't have to do anything else, you're doing fine. Because like what I did, hold on. Because like what I did, in the video, it's on my channel. The Japanese version is, with the English version I just have for myself. In that video, at the end, there's like a final kind of like jump scare moment, and it's like super loud and super overwhelming. And I put it in the background. I put the phrase "violence is violence" because there's like a, you know, everyone's like, silence is violence, and I'd like to argue that violence is violence, because if you are taking, you know, if you are looking after yourself, and if you are, you know, watching out for your triggers, and you are trying to, you know, just look out for your best interest, and if that involves not being involved in these conversations, that's okay, and that's not violence. That's not being a part of the problem. That's being part of the solution. And I think that if you are going after people and trying to hurt people and trying to abuse them into agreeing with you, then that's violence. So, you know, the same people that say silence is violence are some of the most, like, abusive people. And it's like, you know, the way you treat people is far more violent than me looking after myself. And that's kind of a huge thing. It's like, you know, the way you speak to people, the way you talk about people, the way you treat them is far more problematic and harmful than me saying, I can't talk about this because it's not good for me. So, I don't know if I should make a sequel to that. Maybe. But yeah, the guy that, this is another situation I don't really want to talk about. The guy that made the art and I had a huge, like, fight. Like, it's a very long story. I don't really want to talk about that, so let's just change the subject. What should I talk about? Oh, I'm looking forward to the Little League World Series for baseball. I know that's going to start August 16th, and that's the day I go back to college, so at least I'm going to be on the train instead of a plane, so I'll be able to watch it while we're on the train. Trying to think, like, it's going to be cool. I always like watching, you know, summer and autumn sports. Especially, like, you know, with college football, like, there are some sports I don't really watch, and then there's some sports that I do. I like to watch, you know, Little League Baseball World Series only really happens once a year, so I watch that. I like college football. What else do I like? Softball. I actually work for a minor league baseball team. I work as their camera operator. So. What else should I talk about? I don't know, because they were like, you should speak more English, because I'm trying to fall asleep. Yeah. Trying to think. What else? Oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going with my dad to county fair. My dad and I do this every year. We've been doing it for over 5 years now. We go to all the county fairs in the summer and we just take pictures of the weird people. Like the rednecks that like have extremely political t-shirts and are carrying their kids on a leash. That kind of shit. That's what we take pictures of. And we've been doing it for over 5 years and it's like a tradition for us. So it's gonna be fun. I took off work for it because it's literally that's what we do every summer. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm going to the beach August 8th and 9th, so I'm not going to be able to stream then. I'm going with my sister, so that's going to be fun. I guess Saturday night I might have to pick my sister up from like a bar. She doesn't know if she's going to or not. But yeah, she texted me like the other night and she was like, hey, if I go to a bar Saturday night, will you be able to pick me up? And I was like, I was like, are you going to go with me? I said, I already have plans with Dad, but like after that I can take you. But she doesn't know if her friend can go or not yet, so she's gonna wait and see. I went shopping yesterday. That was pretty fun. I got this like glittery kind of stuff to put on my eyes, and it actually looks really nice. I've been looking for it online for forever and ever and ever, and I've been debating buying it online, and then I finally found it in the store yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it. So it was expensive, but you know, I'm gonna get it once, and then if I really like it, I'll get it again. But it's fucking tiny, dude. It was like $25 and it was really tiny, but it looks good. So I also got a nice shirt, and that was kind of it. But yeah, I'm going to the beach. Oh, I should go to the bank today. I should do that. I'm not gonna have a lot of time to do it tomorrow. I have to like start saving up money for college. Like I've been trying to save up money over the summer, but at the same time a couple of little things have been popping up, and it's like, you know, my friend wants to go to the park, or you know, my sister wanted to go shopping, and it was like, you know, I try to be at least somewhat frugal. I consider myself a pretty frugal person. Just like over the summer, my dad said the same thing too. He's like, sometimes you just want to have fun over the summer, and that's fine. But yeah, I've been saving a lot of money, and I actually I used half of the allotted money I had over the summer, or over the last year. I used 50% of all that I had in my budget, so I have like a lot of extra money saved up, and I am trying to do that because I was trying to the more money I have when I graduate, the better. I think I should change the title of the stream. I should change the title of the stream. 寝落ちまで英語しゃべります. Okay. I think I'm gonna share this on Twitter again. There we go. Now when my normal viewers join, they're gonna be like, wait, why is she speaking English? What was I saying? I forget what I said. Oh yeah. But yeah, I used like 50% of the money that I had saved up. And they're like, I think you were a little too strict on your budget. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, the more money I have when I graduate, the better. So I'm just trying to have that all saved up. Yeah. My dog's whining outside. Hold on. I'll let him up on the bed so we can sleep. Hold on.
Thank you. What's the matter? What are you doing? Hold on, like, keep up. Oh, there you go, mister. Oh, he just...
bed now. So cute. He never used to sleep in my bed. It was always like he'd always be somewhere else, and he would never really go into my room much, unless it was trying to eat my trash. But we left one time, and we had a dog sitter that slept in my room, and ever since then he's been wanting to go in my bed, and it's really sweet. I think I'm gonna go for like up till an hour. I'm gonna go for the last like 3 minutes and then end this, because I think everyone's starting to fall asleep now. Yeah, I think today I'll just do some skincare and go to the bank, and then I'll go to work. Just a normal day. But yeah, Vivi, I'm glad you care about, what happened, and you're not like a lot of other people trying to justify it. So it means a lot, and I like having this place where I can kind of just, not worry about it and not worry about it being invalidated. So yeah, I'm gonna end after like a minute, and as always I like to end every time with some nice words, some positive words, so I'll say that in Japanese, okay? And then I'll end the stream. じゃあみんな多分寝てるからさ、これから配信終わりね。まだ寝てないならアーカイブ見てね。今日のいい言葉はね、なんかどうやって言う日本語で、誰もなんか君はこんなこと話しないと間が悪い人って言ったら、あいつらクソやろ、聞かないで。だから自分のメンタルヘルスのことを大事にして。じゃあ配信終わります。お疲れ様。バイバイ。